low stomach acid. If you've been dealing with bloating, acid reflux, or that heavy feeling after meals, chances are you've probably heard the term low stomach acid. But to shed some more light on this topic, in this video, I'm going to break down the most prevalent root causes of low stomach acid that you need to know, from hidden infections like H. pylori to some common over-the-counter medications and even the vitamin deficiencies that can shut off stomach acid production. Then stick around to the very end because lastly, I'll explain the 3 key takeaways to focus on for correcting low stomach acid. What's up and welcome to the video. I'm Dr. Daniel Ricciardi, gut health expert, licensed pharmacist, fitness enthusiast, creator of SIBO shortcut and the gut health supplement bloat blocker. This is bloat blocker. It's a supplement I came up with last year to help out patients with IBS and SIBO. This is made in the United States, consists of tamarind seed and a little bit of pea protein powder in a patent pending formula. Bloat blocker works by strengthening the lining of the small intestine. This is important because it helps with preventing leaky gut and a variety of digestive symptoms. If you want to check it out, there's a link right here on the screen or one also down in the description below. And back to the video on low stomach acid. Low stomach acid, it is a major issue both for digestion and overall health. There's a variety of different reasons that somebody may result in having low stomach acid. Starting now, we're going to take a look at the most common reasons. Each of these reasons is going to be due to one of 3 things. Number 1, not being able to produce enough stomach acid. Number 2, not being able to release enough stomach acid. And then finally, number 3, your body is able to physically produce and release enough stomach acid, but you just may not be using the stomach acid optimally. Reason number 1 is poor eating hygiene. I talk a lot about this in this previous video here. If you haven't seen it yet, I would really recommend going back and watching it. Everyone knows that what you eat is important, but what you may not know is how you eat is also incredibly important. Rushing through meals, eating on the go, or multitasking during meals can signal to your brain and body that it's in fight or flight mode, not the rest and digest mode that you really need to digest your food well and release stomach acid. This can disrupt the brain-stomach connection, leading to not utilizing stomach acid optimally. Some things poor eating hygiene may mean include not chewing or not chewing well. You may have enough stomach acid and it may get released. It just can't get into the food to break it down because the particles are big. Eating too fast or overeating. If there's too much food in the stomach, that stomach acid for the same reason can't get in there and churn everything up and digest it. And then third, drinking too much liquid during meals. Your body may put out the perfect amount of stomach acid, but if you're chugging down tons of water, it's going to get diluted and that food may not get digested. Second reason is chronic stress. So this is a case of your body may be able to produce enough stomach acid, but if we're chronically stressed, it may not be releasing the stomach acid. Stress diverts your body's energy away from digestion. If your survival is in question, your body's not going to care about digesting food. Over time, this can lead to more bloating, indigestion, and a vicious cycle of gut issues. Third item I'm going to talk about, this ties a little bit into items 4 and 5 as well, but number 3 is proton pump inhibitors. If you're not familiar with what it is, this is both a prescription and over-the-counter medication people often use for heartburn, GERD, and acid reflux. These proton pump inhibitors literally prevent protons, which is the stomach acid, from being released. These typically don't fix the root issue, and the longer you're on these, the more issues they can actually cause. As a quick disclaimer, if you are on a long-term prescription medication such as a proton pump inhibitor, always talk to your doctor before discontinuing. Number 4 is H2 receptor blockers, which stands for histamine 2 receptor blockers. These are similar to the proton pump inhibitors because they're lowering stomach acid, and this reduction is in big part due to lowering histamine production, where histamine is actually needed to produce stomach acid. Again, short-term use of things that lower stomach acid can be used in certain scenarios such as healing ulcers, but ideally using them long-term is not really recommended. Number 5, antacids. These are things like Tums and Gaviscon. They are calcium-based and they can bring quick relief to heartburn-type symptoms. These literally are meant to neutralize stomach acid, but utilize a different mechanism of action than the H2 receptor blockers or the proton pump inhibitors. All right, everything we just covered right there was your body may be able to produce enough stomach acid, but it just was not being released. Now we're going to switch gears into things that can actually stop your body from producing enough stomach acid. These are things like number 6, H. pylori. H. pylori is a bacteria that can burrow into the lining of the stomach. This often leads to ulcers, but before these ulcers can form, H. pylori can often damage the special cells in the lining of the stomach that release and produce stomach acid. A few ways to test for H. pylori include the urease breath test and a functional stool test. Number 7, hypothyroidism, low thyroid. Low thyroid slows down every system in the body, including digestion. This means less stimulation of stomach acid production, slower gastric stomach motility, and even reduced enzyme release. Many people with hypothyroid often have things like cold hands, constipation, and fatigue. To check for this is typically done in your doctor's visits where they would check your thyroid levels every year. Number 8 is vitamin deficiencies. Iron, zinc, vitamin B12, magnesium. These are all essential nutrients for stomach acid production. And B12 absorption actually requires stomach acid, so it gets into a vicious cycle if your B12 ends up being low. Things like smoking, drinking, or eating a highly processed diet that is low in nutrients, you can tie those in kind of to causes for this because they can be indirectly contributing to vitamin deficiencies. If you're curious about checking for insufficiency of these nutrients, something like a micronutrients test may be something to look at, such as a SpectraCell test. Magnesium for most people is a nutrient you can use pretty much always safely. Vitamin B12, usually the same thing as well. Number 9 is a hypoadrenal or low cortisol state. The adrenal glands play a role in regulating stress and metabolism. When you're in this low cortisol hypoadrenal state, often called adrenal fatigue, this can lead to sluggish digestion and poor stomach acid output. Number 10 is chronic NSAID use, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, things like ibuprofen, which is Advil, things like naproxen, which is Aleve. These can actually erode the stomach lining over time. There's a protective mucus layer that lines the stomach, and if you're using these drugs constantly day after day for a long period of time, this can have a negative effect on the stomach lining where the stomach acid is produced. Number 11, atrophic gastritis, which is an autoimmune condition. This again has to deal with when the stomach lining gets damaged, acid production can drop significantly. And then finally, number 12 is old age. Unfortunately, nothing really we can do about this, but stomach acid does seem to take a dip as we get older. This does make it harder to digest protein, absorb minerals, and fight off pathogens. And supplementing may really be something that can benefit you, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more now. Finally, what to do to fix low stomach acid. There's 3 things. If you remember anything from this video, take these. We just talked about 12 previous root causes. With the exception of old age, which I'm pretty sure we can't fix, number 1 is try to test for, identify, and fix as many of these root causes as you possibly can. This is going to be the most impactful thing because we're addressing the key reason the low stomach acid happened in the first place. Number 2 is the eating hygiene practices. Like I mentioned, watch the previous video, which I'm going to link down in the description below, that talks about this a little bit more. And then lastly, number 3, using betaine HCl or apple cider vinegar as a supplement to quickly boost your stomach acid. I'm not going to go into details on how to do this, but there's another video linked in the description below titled How to Take Betaine HCl, and this describes exactly how to do this. Finally, if you're still on the fence, do I have low stomach acid? Do I not? One quick way you can estimate your levels of stomach acid are to take 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, mix it into 4 ounces or about 120 milliliters of cold water. Do this first thing in the morning right when you wake up and drink this, and then start a timer. Measure how long it takes you to begin burping. And when I say burping, I mean multiple actual burps that are coming out, not just one that you feel is starting to bubble up, but nothing actually happens. If this takes less than 3 minutes, it seems more likely that you probably have sufficient stomach acid, but if the time period is over 3 minutes, it may be likely that you have lower stomach acid and may want to do some of these interventions I just talked about. That is all for today. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel for more related content. If you have questions on this video, please leave them in the comments section below. I read all of them and would love to answer them. Since you watched till the end, I think you're going to enjoy one of these 2 videos here next. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.